Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
Well, I'm going on 4 weeks without really gaming. I mean, I'll log in and play a game, but then I'll be like, yeah, I don't like this. So the only thing I do now is just click the mouse.
Well, thanks for
Further
bolstering our resume as a video game podcast week after week.
Yep. Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. We need to change the show, or you got to fire me. Those are your options.
Fair
Which we already discussed. You can replace me with Sasan, but I think he's a terrible person. So.
Yeah, I just don't know if I could handle someone that good looking. You know, I can handle you, but someone who's that attractive, I just don't know.
That one hurt a little bit. That one hurt. That hurt the ego a little bit. Because yes, I will give him his body is definitely better than mine, but I will not give him the face award. My face is way better looking. No offense, Sasan, you're not as good looking as me. Suck it. It's your back.
Oh boy. All right, I'll let you guys continue that some other time. We're gonna go ahead and actually start an episode here, episode 117 actually. And hey, if it does turn out that by the time this show is over, I have to fire you, that's a pretty good run, you know? 117 episodes, that's not too bad.
Well, it's kind of annoying because I'm clearly the boss of the show. I'm the alpha male. How can you actually fire the boss? You can't do it. So we'll have to figure that out.
It'll be done in some kind of passive-aggressive, still trying to be nice way. Don't worry. It'll be annoying.
We need to figure out the logistics of that. Maybe you created like a secret board, like a team, and they actually outrank me somehow, and then they all vote to get rid of me. Yeah, that would be great.
That's an interesting idea. I like that. That's good. Yeah, it'll be something subtle that I'm kind of like, sorry, I meant to talk to you about that. You know, it'll be really awkward and annoying, and just the perfect way to let you go.
I know we talked about it. I'm confident that once March really gets into things, I think the excitement will come back. It's just there's nothing I'm interested in now. I'll play Rocket League every once in a while, but I'm like, ugh, I don't even want to play Rocket League. It's not that fun.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think you're done. I think you've turned a leaf. You've turned a new page of your life, and welcome to it, my friend. You know, let me be the first one to welcome you to this boring new life you're leading. I'm going running. I'm losing weight. Ooh. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, it's great. I'm turning into your wife. This is what I'm turning into.
It's really annoying. I've got enough people telling me I should exercise more and stop playing video games.
Well, the good thing about me is I'm not condescending. Like, I don't go around doing, well, I've lost all this weight. You guys should really mirror me. I don't care. Do you?
Let me ask you this, and this will be the real defining thing for you. Are you playing Candy Crush on your phone?
I've thought about it. No. Hell no.
So close.
I downloaded Final Fantasy 15 on my phone, but even that, for some reason, couldn't even get me to play on a phone. I just hate phone games. So I just ended up deleting it. I pushed the car forward, and then I was like, you know what? Unless this comes out on the Switch, I do not care. I'm not playing this.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Even though you're kind of on a hiatus at the moment from being an avid gamer, did you have a chance to do some top 25 stuff, or is that something for us to do later?
No, I got it.
Okay.
I did my homework.
We'll get to that at the end. What we're going to do starting this week, and it's actually going to take 5 different episodes because I want to do 5 at a time, is we're going to count down our personal top 25 games of all time. And so we're going to start with numbers 25 through 21. We'll close out the show with that. And then over the next few weeks, there's actually a few weeks, like when when Far Cry 5 comes out, that I have planned to just talk about that game. And we'll skip it those weeks. But probably by the end of April, we will have our full list to share with everybody. So that's something we actually haven't done.
Are you going to buy Far Cry Digital on PlayStation?
Say what?
Are you going to buy Far Cry 5 Digital on the PlayStation?
I already pre-ordered it with Best Buy.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know in case you wanted to co-op. But Who cares about me? I mean, I don't even matter anymore.
I'm just assuming you're not going to play it, number one. And number two, I assumed you were also playing it on either your PC or your Xbox One Z. Or
Yeah,
whatever
I'm
it's
planning
called.
to play on PC, but I didn't know if maybe you wanted to be my friend. But hey, it's cool. I can take rejection. It's fine.
Nah, I'm good. I got enough friends.
What a nice ass. You are the nicest asshole ever. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'll save my money, and I like the other people I hang out with better. You desperate little man-child.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
What I do
appreciate
like
it.
is that you fill in the blanks from the things that I say pretty accurately. So that's pretty good. That's not bad.
Yeah, I can read your mind.
Not bad.
I can read everybody's mind. It's usually just negative crap towards me, so yeah. It's not that
Well,
bad.
I've tried 2 games recently that I thought I'd share with you because I know you're going to love them both.
Yeah,
One,
I'd love to hear about
other
trash.
than some Monster Hunter World here and there, playing some Lego Marvel superheroes with my son Shepard right now. We're
Okay.
having a lot of fun with that game again. That's just a fun one to revisit. That's one of Telltale's, or not Telltale, Traveler's Tale's best Lego games, I think.
What is it? Which one?
Just
Marvel-
the first Marvel superheroes that I still
Oh, you
have
didn't buy
on
the second one.
that I
Okay.
still have on the PS4, and it still looks and plays great. And
I think the second one is already like $16 at Best Buy.
I think you're right.
It's either
I think it is
now
pretty cheap.
or
Yeah.
Sunday it will be $16. I was
Yeah.
like shocked because I was thinking about buying it for Eli, but then I was like, you know what? Eli doesn't even care about Lego games anymore. He only plays FIFA. So
There you go. It's pretty fun. Lots of just those laugh out loud moments of silly things happening by accident. Like when a cutscene starts, he was out in the middle of the ocean with Iron Man, so it showed him off in the distance, flailing in the water. Little things like that make me and
Mhm.
my 7-year-old just laugh about stuff. So that's been pretty fun. But I tried out Jotun. I'm not sure. It's Jotun. It's one I got for like $2 or something crazy on some major sale a while back. And so I was looking through. I have a folder. What I love about PS4 is you can put everything in folders. So I've got a folder of what I call backlog games. The idea
Yeah.
there is not that I have to beat those games, but I at least want to try them. And if I decide I'm going to play them, but I'm not ready to play them right now, they stay there. If I'm like, no, that's a hard pass, I'll delete it. Or if it's something I just haven't tried yet, it's things like Gravity Rush 2. They're still sitting in there. So this weekend I tried Jotun, which is by Thunder Lotus. They're the people who made Sundered, which you guys heard me talk. I probably oversold it. It's a really good Metroidvania game. Not for everybody, but it is what it is. Jotun is the first game that they made, and where Sundered is a fun, creative Metroidvania game. This one, Jotun, is more of an isometric, just hard as balls game. Like you have a really slow attack with an axe. It's kind of set in a Nordic kind of a setting. So you have these gods that you're trying to get powers from. And I'm on the third area where you're climbing through these giant trees, and this bird keeps swooping down to hit me. And it just doesn't control super quickly. So you die a lot. It almost reminds me of a Souls game in terms of like, man, you need to learn the timing of this stuff perfectly, or you will die a lot. And they're okay with you dying a lot. So it's a much more difficult game than I thought it would be. So it's okay though. It's got really cool art style. If you guys like hand drawn stuff, it's very pretty. So I think it would pass the Derek and Sasan test of at least the visuals look nice. I just don't know if it's for everybody. And then I also played some Rime since that was on PS Plus free last month. Fired up Rime, which I know you'll be excited to hear about.
Yeah.
And Rime is a really cool puzzle game, but it's not much more than that. So there's no combat of any kind, but there's some really creative environmental puzzles. The graphics look like a combination of Wind Waker and, if you guys remember, The Witness. Those kind of visuals kind of mashed together. And then, of course, there's no dialogue. So you will like that. So, Derek, if you want a game with no dialogue, Rime is your game. Unless there's dialogue in the second half of the game. I think I'm most of the way through it. No talking whatsoever. So.
Yep, I like my games like I like my women, silent and pretty.
Fair enough. So there's some stuff that I've been playing other than.
So
other than
here's the
normal
question.
stuff.
Now I know you've had access to it because of me owning it, but now you actually own a copy of Bloodborne. Why don't you just before Far Cry 5 comes out, why don't you give it a good go?
If you get back into gaming in a real way before Far Cry 5 comes out, I'll jump into Bloodborne before Far Cry 5 comes out.
Okay, what am I supposed to play? There's
You got
nothing I
you
wanna
got games
play.
in the backlog. Don't pretend like there's nothing there. You got lots of games to play, and you know it.
They're all trash.
Yeah.
I'll
So-
pick something.
Let me know
Alright.
if and when you jump back into something. And
Maybe I'll jump
don't know.
into Dark Souls 3 because I don't think I talked about it, but I do the humble bundle monthly.
yeah.
Sometimes I'll skip it, but
Tell
lately
people
it's
what
been
that is in
freaking
case they don't know. Humble Bundle is pretty great. If you're a
Yeah,
non-PC gamer, maybe you've never heard of it.
I don't have my controller to give me light again, but whatever, it's not a big deal. So Humble Bundle monthly is you pay basically $12 a month. You can put it on pause. You can start it, cancel it, whatever, whenever you want. So that's really cool. And what they usually do is they try to entice you by giving you a couple games up front, and there usually is one that's like a AAA, like good game. And then later in the month, you'll get another like 5 or 6. So you walk away getting 7 or 8 games for $12. It's not a huge risk, especially if there's one game you want at the beginning of the month that can entice you to pay the $12, then you feel like you're getting the other 5 or 6 games for free. And that's why I do it, because there's a lot of games I just don't care about that they give you.
Right.
But this past month, I bought Dark Souls 3. Well, no, then they just released a new one that I invested in. Oh, it was Deus Ex Mankind Divided and Mafia 3. And I was like, well,
Oh,
I want
nice.
Mafia 3 on PC. I already have Deus Ex, so I
Both
gave
are
Deus
great
Ex away.
games. I can
Yeah,
confirm both are great.
I mean, think about it. $12 for a PC version of Mafia 3 and Deus Ex Mankind Divided. That's ridiculously good. And then you're obviously going to get more games. But anyways, back to my point. So I got Dark Souls 3. That game looks absolutely amazing in native 4K, 60 frames per second. I actually played last week a couple hours. I beat the first boss on the first try. And then after I did that, I didn't really explore much because I was like, "Whoa, I've already beat it, and I hate games." But I don't know. Maybe I'll go back into it because I was really enjoying the little bit that I played, and it is gorgeous on PC. So good.
Nice.
I can't wait to, because I never beat Dark Souls. I wouldn't say far, but I probably got to like the third or fourth boss on the original Dark Souls. So I'm excited for the remastered version coming out on PC. I think I'm going to buy that.
So you're definitely not going to get it on Switch, even though they have the Solaire amiibo coming.
No. I might buy the amiibo just to own it.
That amiibo looks awesome. You got to admit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That they made.
But no, if I have the choice between PC for that game and Switch, I'm buying PC.
Yeah.
I'm not like you. I don't do a lot of TV watching while handheld gaming. If I'm watching TV, I have to be focused on that. I can't do both, so
But
I
keep in
rarely
mind the shows that I usually play during are things like Amazing Race, Survivor,
Yeah,
Shark Tank. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So I am turning into your wife, but I'm not going that far. Like
Fair enough.
with the type of shows she watches.
Okay.
That's trash. Don't tell her I said that because she might already. Well, she probably already hates me, but she'll hate me more.
No, she loves that you take up a couple hours of my time every week. She loves it.
Yeah, of course she does.
All right. Fortunately, I mean, she's out tonight with a friend having coffee. I put all the kids down for bed. I think we're in the clear.
Oh, good.
All right, so let's talk about some news, including the Nintendo Direct that just happened this past week. There was a number of announcements there. So we'll go through all of this, and then we'll get to our first 5 of our top 25 countdown. So
Sounds
there's
good.
a whole bunch of news, though. So let's jump into it. We've got State of Decay 2 has a release date that's been announced. It is May 22nd for the Xbox One, as well as PC, of course. And this will be part of their plan. What's that plan they have? I forget. The gaming.
Game Pass.
Game Pass, yes. It will be part of that, available day 1 through that as well. So May 22nd. And so if you think about Sea of Thieves coming out this month, and then 2 months later, State of Decay 2, they already are hitting a much better cadence of of exclusives than they had last year. So
Are you gonna do the Game Pass for at least Sea of Thieves?
oh yeah. Yep, I
Okay,
am
cool.
100% planning on trying Sea of Thieves with the Game Pass, and I also just want to
Yeah.
try out the Game Pass as a service and talk about that a little bit too.
Yeah.
So, and if it's worth it, then I'll pay for the couple of months and go ahead and play State of Decay 2 at the end of May as well.
I think. I apologize. and maybe it's over and I should have just done it already. Rob Ronaldo was telling me, or Ronaldo, whatever his damn name is, um, that if you subscribe to Game Pass and then set up auto renewal, they give you like 60 days free. So you're basically getting
Ooh.
90 days for $10.
Well, that's a really good idea. All right,
And
then.
he did it because he had what I have, and that's we bought the Xbox One X. So we got, well, I can't show you because the code's on there, but we got a free code for, I think it's for 30 days. Yeah, 1 month free of Game Pass. So he entered that code and then found out, oh, if I do the auto renewal, they'll give me another, maybe it was
Nice.
30 days, but I think he said 60. So
That's pretty
I
sweet.
think I'm going to do that. In fact, I need to do it tonight. I keep
Yeah, I'm
forgetting.
going to try to remember to do that tonight, too. That's a good call. All right, Monster Hunter World, of course, a game that I've touted quite a bit already this year. It's my favorite
Mhm.
game of the year so far, of course.
Well, it's my favorite, and I'm sick of it.
I put 90 hours into this game now. It's been my kind of Rocket League style game. I'll jump in and do a few investigations and upgrade my gear. I've almost got all the
Dude,
Nergiganti
I've
gear.
killed Anjanath like 50 times. It's
Yeah.
kind of getting old, and I'm missing like this Anjanath gem. That's the only thing I'm missing to unlock the Aloy outfit.
Okay.
And I don't know how you get it. I mean, I don't know if it's just random or what, but
It is.
I don't know
It's
how
a
you
random
get the
drop, and if you
Awesome.
break certain parts of the monster during the fight, you get a higher higher chance of getting certain things. So, but yeah, I got the Aloy gear. It actually looks exactly like she looks on Horizon. It's pretty impressive, even the way her hair kind of flows around as you jump around. Because
Mhm.
what you cannot do is you can't, of course, with your character, just put on like her arm guards or whatever, or can't just put on the quote unquote head of Aloy. You have to equip the entire outfit or none of it. So that's why you have to collect a whole bunch of stuff to craft it. But
Which I'm fine with because I actually designed my character to kind of look like her.
Yeah.
Not exactly, but pretty close.
no,
So-
mine's a dude, this big dude with a big old beard, and then so when I equip the Aloy stuff, all of a sudden I'm this little monster hunting chick. But it's interesting because her gear is not the strongest. It's probably right around the rank 6 or 7 range, or tier
Mhm.
6 or 7 range. But if you power it up enough, it's not too many clicks below the Elder Dragon gear that I've got right now. So it's just a
Okay.
small downgrade, and it looks really cool too to have her in the game. So there you go. But Monster Hunter World is Capcom's best-selling game ever, according to Capcom. Now, this, of course, met with some skepticism. They're saying they've shipped 7.5 million units. That doesn't mean they've all sold, right? There could be a whole bunch
Yeah.
of them sitting in warehouses, whatever. I understand this is a good selling game. I understand that it's one of their best selling ever. I just have a hard time believing that it sold better than Street Fighter 2 and all of the Resident Evils. Certainly one of the Resident Evils, like 4, that's been released 6 times or whatever. They have to have sold more. But anyway, I'll take them at their word for now. It's their best selling game ever. If nothing else, just know it's selling really well, which is awesome. All right, Division 2 is in development. It's been officially announced. We don't know really much more than that. I expect we'll hear more, if not at E3, then sometime later this year, I would imagine. We'll hear more about Division 2. If I had to guess, I'd say this is going to be a Q1 or Q2 2019 game, similar to
Yeah.
what Division 1 also came out, I think, in Q2 of 2015?
7, 6. Was it really?
2015 or 2016?
I want to say 16.
Could have been 16. So anyway, I imagine this will also be a spring game, just to stay consistent with that, which is great. I've heard nothing but good things from those who have stuck with that game. Of course, many people would say it's too bad they didn't release a fantastic experience out of the gate. I agree with that. It's not a bad experience, but it wasn't
Yeah, it was a
amazing.
good experience. I think
So-
it just depends on what you look for. Like they had
Yeah.
to make it different than, of course, I'm gonna forget Ghost Recon, because Ghost
Mm.
Recon it's essentially the same type of game. The major difference is Ghost Recon is realistic that if you shoot somebody in the head, they die.
Right.
And so I really think they intentionally made the Division a more of an RPG game where
Totally.
you could shoot the guy in the head 50 times and he's still running around if he's a level higher than you or something like that. But that also made the game, I'll be honest, frustrating. Like there was just times where it was like, oh my gosh, I've shot you 1,000 times and you're still
And you know what it is?
running around.
You and I have compared this game to Borderlands before, and I think it's a fair comparison, right? Because you can headshot something in Borderlands a million times, and it takes forever for it to die. But the difference is the Division looks like and kind of tries to be realistic in so many ways. And its graphics and its post-apocalyptic setting is trying to be realistic, and yet the combat is not realistic. Whereas something like Borderlands looks and feels and totally is cartoony. So the fact that the shooting isn't incredibly realistic isn't a problem with that game. So,
Yeah, but even that, like Borderlands, I don't feel like you shoot an enemy like 80 billion times. Plus, it's not a cover system game, whereas The Division is all about cover. So you're shooting something or someone 50 billion times, and it only takes a few shots for you to die.
Agreed.
Like you get hit at all, you're down.
Yep.
And so I found it infuriating. In fact, I because I've been doing this a lot lately, I'll just go in and I'll try to. I think I'm trying to get back into gaming, so I'll just jump into a game and be like, do I want to play this? So I jumped into The Division either today or yesterday. I can't remember. And I played for like 2 seconds. I was like, yep, don't want to play this. This is annoying. Like, I died. I was down in like 30 seconds. I was like, this is stupid.
So if they do one thing better or differently in Division 2, what's your one thing that you want them to do differently?
My biggest gripe was the world was stupid. Like, it was just so bland and boring. I understand with the story, that's why they were doing it, but it was boring.
So if
like,
they do one thing differently,
looked the
you want
same.
the world to be completely built out and much better.
Yeah.
What you're saying. Okay, that's fair. All right, Days Gone from Bend Studio has been delayed officially out of this year into 2019. So they still aren't giving a release date, but it's definitely not coming out this year. No surprise there. There were a lot of Sony exclusives on the horizon. I think most of us are surprised that something like Detroit is actually coming out this year. That does make me wonder, does that mean that Spider-Man from Insomniac will be their big fall game? Maybe. You know, will Spider-Man be their big fall game? Or will that also get pushed back 2019? We'll have to wait and see. But Days Gone is no longer coming out.
Well, you know, everybody's like, well, this is no surprise, But to me, they've shown so much of Days Gone that I am a little surprised because I felt like they were showing it so much because they were like, we want to hype you. We are on target. We're going to hit this. So you're going to keep seeing this game. They made a big deal about showing this game off on at least 2 of their major shows, 2 or 3 of them.
I'm pretty sure.
Like, dang, they keep showing Days Gone stuff.
JP was telling me that this was revealed in 2016. He thinks it was probably E3 2016. So we're coming up on 2 years since that game was first announced, assuming that's accurate. And so if this doesn't release till mid 2019 at the earliest, then it's going to be 3 years from announcement till release. And again, that's not the worst ever. There's plenty of games that have taken way longer, but it just feels like a long time. And I don't know why that is. That just feels like a long time to wait. So.
I know it's stupid and it really doesn't make sense, but it actually does. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. It actually gets a lot of people to the point where they're like, I no longer care about this game. I do like it when they're like what they did with Fallout 4. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Boom. Here's Fallout 4, 6 months. And it's not just because they give it to you right away. It's because you don't have to see it for 3-4 years till you get to the point where you're like, I no longer care about this game. I still care about Days Gone. I am a little disappointed it got delayed because I think I liked what I saw from it more than most people. But there's enough stuff coming out. It's fine.
So there you go. That game is delayed. And here's another interesting announcement. Gabe Newell from Valve has announced that they are getting back into the game software creation business. Of course, there's been nothing official about Half-Life 3. That's the one everyone asks about. So nothing official. But according to Gabe Newell in this interview, he said as he's watching what Nintendo's doing specifically, especially with all the stuff with the Switch. And he kind of is starting to feel a little jealous, and he said taking cues from the way that Miyamoto cannot just he doesn't just sit back and say, here's the new Mario and Zelda ideas. He wonders, Miyamoto sits back and says, what should the controller look and feel like? What should the hardware look and feel like? And he maps those all together, software through hardware. And he loves that creativity, and he's ready to get back into creating experiences. So cool. I do think that means some VR stuff from them, but he said there's also some just kind of standard single-player projects they're working on. So Valve's getting back to it in some way, shape, or form. It'll be interesting to
I'm
see.
not a big Valve fan like other people. I like their games, but
Will this be a different Valve now, right? It's been a while.
well,
Other than Dota 2 and the Half-Life games, which those are the most recent things I can think of that they made. So it'll be
like
interesting.
Portal isn't fun for me to play, but I think Portal has some of the best personality in all of gaming.
I agree.
So I wouldn't be mad if I saw another Portal, but really the only game or franchise that I get super excited for from them is Left 4 Dead.
Oh yeah, Left 4 Dead. That's right. I forgot they did that one. Yeah, if they announce Portal 3, then this whole thing becomes incredibly exciting for me. That's all I care about. But you're right. I forgot Left 4 Dead. I could see
I'm
them
a big Left 4 Dead fan.
working on both of those possibly. Maybe they're gonna.
wish.
You know what? I'm gonna guess Left 4 Dead is gonna be one of the VR games that he's talking about. That's my guess.
Could be.
All right, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 has been officially announced, although the complete reveal won't happen until May. And the game is going to ship in October 12th, which is a great day. It's my birthday. But isn't that, it's interesting.
It's a terrible day.
They're moving it earlier a month, which is interesting. I wonder why that is. I'm not 100% sure why that is, but Call of Duty is moving their game earlier.
I know they're still selling really good, but aren't they doing a little bit worse every year, though, compared to what they're used to? Or did World War II do
World War
really
II
good?
picked up the slack a little bit, or maybe it was the previous one, Infinity Warfare, that picked up the slack. I know that.
I think Affinity Warfare was a bit of a... Again, when I say disappointment, I'm talking about their numbers,
Correct.
not overall numbers.
Right.
I think it was a bit of a disappointment. I think that was the one they were having trouble selling at the level they were used to with Call of Duty. I think
agree.
the last...
I think that
Again, I'm not talking
franchise-
about World War, but I think the last 2 or 3 before World War were struggling to sell real well. That's why they wanted to go back to their roots.
I understand from a monetary standpoint, a business standpoint, why they won't do this. But from a creative standpoint, that franchise needs to do what Assassin's Creed did and take a year off and just circle the wagons and come up with something amazing like Origins for Assassin's Creed.
They won't do it just because, obviously, you know, from business standpoint, so I don't need to explain that. But they won't do it just because the main selling point for them compared to Assassin's Creed is multiplayer.
Right.
And you can't really rehaul the multiplayer. You could change campaigns. Like, I've always wanted more of an open, I don't know if you need to do open world, but like open area military shooter where it's more strategic. And you have to use teammates. You could even make it co-op or AI, stuff like that. But make the levels more open and make the way that you attack the situation more up to the player than it being scripted.
Yeah.
I've always wanted that with a Call of Duty or a Battlefield. Nobody will do it. They don't want to do it. They want everything to be scripted. And it's like, I played World War II. I thought it's one of the best Call of Duties I've played in a while. But it still was bland and boring to me. Like, I was like, I'm just so over this. I cannot play another campaign, first-person shooter that's scripted and just, I don't know, just boring.
Yeah, it needs to do something different.
Yep.
Okay, so that official reveal comes in May. We'll talk about that when we learn more about Black Ops 4, although I expect it to be more Black Ops, which is a solid shooting experience. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Nintendo Direct before we get to our top 25 countdown. So Nintendo Direct happened. It was kind of a surprise announcement the day before, and the Direct happened on Thursday. So they had a whole bunch of announcements. The reaction has been kind of mixed. If you're already a big Nintendo fan and Switch is one of your new favorite consoles, I'd put myself in that category, then there's a ton of stuff here that you're now pumped about. If you are already a Nintendo skeptic and you have a hard time liking anything Nintendo does, you're going to find a way to criticize it. It's a classic set of announcements where if you're already...
You mean Nintendo is making announcements for their console that they would normally do, and so therefore anybody who just decides they hate Nintendo is going to stay the same? Yeah, that's what happens.
Basically.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't understand people why they think Nintendo's just going to come out and become Sony or Xbox.
I agree, but I'm going to actually... I think after you guys hear these announcements, I think they're taking some incredible steps to bridge the gap from what people who are on Xbox and PS4 want. And now they're starting to put a lot of that stuff on Switch, and it's still not making people happy. These are all old games, you'll hear people say. Well, first of all, There are a number of new IPs here that they're talking about. Second of all, these aren't like incredibly old games. A lot of the ports came out last year, and the Switch is now getting them. So I think that's good news. I don't understand
Yeah,
why.
but we've talked about this, and this is the ignorance of a lot of people. I get it if you either own a Switch or don't own a Switch, and you don't like. I don't care about handheld, so this is not a selling point. So I'm not saying this for me, but when people are like, "Well, we've got these games on all the other systems. Why do we need them to bring these old games to the Switch?" Because the Switch is predominantly a handheld system. What is wrong with releasing Dark Souls on a handheld? I think that's awesome.
It is. I agree.
South Park on a handheld. I'm not trying to take your thunder away.
No,
When
but that's
we
a
go
great
through the
example.
announcements.
That's a great example
But
of one. Yeah.
I think those are super cool on a handheld.
Yeah.
And I think it's perfect for somebody like you who, I don't know how much you like South Park. I think South Park's hilarious, but I can't play it in front of my kids.
Now I
and
can
I'm
have
not,
headphones in, so maybe
I
I
don't
will.
shelter
Yeah.
my kids that much,
Yeah.
but this would be easier to play the game whenever I want and not have to worry about my kids being like, why is that cartoon character banging that other cartoon character while farting in their face? You know, that type of thing.
Classic South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, so overall, I thought this was a good direct, and people were treating it like, boy, they just failed at E3. Well, the reality is, no one else announced anything on Thursday, just Nintendo
Yeah.
did. So, anyway,
It's just
I
bunch
think
of
this is a
whiny
great
babies.
way of saying, here's what the first half of 2018. We're gonna show you how this year is gonna fill out, and then probably at E3 we'll see from August through the end of the year. So I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff that's coming. So first of all, I am still perplexed at their support for the 3DS. We have some 3DSs and 2DSs in our household. I like the system. It's great for kids especially. I've enjoyed some games on it myself. But Nintendo, you have an absolute grand slam home run console with the Switch. Why are you doing this? So they announced 4 3DS games. WarioWare Gold, which is a very, very popular minigame series that I never got into personally. But this is a super popular series. People love WarioWare, and they're putting it out on the 3DS. I have no clue why they didn't put this out on the Switch. It's a very popular IP of theirs.
The only thing I can think of is, and I could be wrong, is that some of these games are coming to the 3DS, obviously to keep supporting it, but maybe they started development for these games before the success of the Switch. Because
Maybe.
you got to remember, Nintendo going into the Switch, they couldn't say, "Oh, this is gonna be a hit." They couldn't say that.
Yeah.
They didn't know.
No,
They
that's
thought that way
true.
about the Wii U, and the Wii U was a tremendous fail.
I don't disagree with that. You could be
so
right.
I don't know.
So WarioWare Gold, I think, is going to have like over 300 plus, mini games. So there's a lot there. So yes, that probably has been in the works for a while. But so August 3rd is that release date. May 24th, we'll see a downloadable game called Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. If you guys remember Dylan's Rolling Western, which was, in my opinion, kind of a failed IP from Nintendo, but they keep putting out games for it. That one I don't care about. Let that go to the 3DS. I don't care. Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story is getting remade, and they're adding Bowser Jr.'s Journey to that as well. I do like the Mario and Luigi games, but I don't care that much that that's going to 3DS and not Switch, to be honest with you.
I was kind of hoping they would. Of course, I'm going to forget the name. The one that came on the SNES that started it all. The
Mario
7
RPG.
Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would release that on the Switch. And I'm not talking about like an old version, a remake of
Oh
it.
yeah.
I think that'd be
Rebuild that thing with really crisp HD graphics, but let it be
Mhm.
pretty much the same game. I would love
cool.
that.
I don't think it would be that hard to do.
That would be amazing. But that Mario and Luigi Inside Story game comes out sometime in 2019. So 3DS support is not going to end this year like we all kind of assumed it would really taper off this year. Not really happening. This last one I think totally belongs on the Switch. I'm very confused why they're doing this on the 3DS, but they're completely remaking Luigi's Mansion, the old GameCube classic that launched. It was a GameCube launch game. And they're remaking this for the 3DS. Again, I understand that they put out the sequel to Luigi's Mansion on the 3DS. So it's very possible that this was a pretty straightforward rip and replace with the same assets because it looks very much like the 3DS Luigi's Mansion game. So to remake the first game in that series, possibly, was a very simple process. So that one I get, but I really wish that was on the Switch. It just seems like a great fit for the Switch. But whatever. There you go. There's some 3DS news. Let's talk about the Switch news though. So there was a lot of good stuff talked about with the Switch. Number one, Okami HD. It's being remade, by the way, for several other systems. I think all the other systems are getting it, but it's now confirmed that Okami is also coming to the Switch. The reason I'm going to get it on the Switch when it comes out this summer is because one of the primary functions in the game Okami is you use a paintbrush. So you have to use some sort of motion or touch controls. You don't have to. I mean, you can use the control stick.
Oh, I just thought it was because you like to play all your bad games on the Switch.
It's because I like the worst games on the smallest screen.
Really
possible.
trash games coming out, but it's on the Switch. I'm gonna get it.
Dude, have you ever played Okami?
Dude, no.
Okay, all right. Okami is a Zelda-like. Just happens to be that you're a wolf.
So I heard. I almost bought it,
Yeah.
and then I was like, nope, you're not gonna play it, so don't do it.
Okami HD, I'm very excited about because I only played that game for a short amount of time on the PS2 back in the day. So I'm looking forward to this one. The Dark Souls remastered, like we already talked about, it's already been revealed. This beta is coming out. They're calling it a network test, I think. I don't know why they just call it beta. It's going to be before launch. So that's going to happen on the Switch. And then they'll also have this Solaire amiibo. And that will release when the game releases on May 25th.
So are you gonna get that?
No.
I don't understand you. You like hard games. Play the Souls games. It's coming out on the Switch. You don't even make sense.
Sometimes
now I'm
I
just starting
like
to think you're like, oh, you know what? Derek likes it.
Sometimes
I'm gonna play it.
I just like to give you the answer that I know is going to frustrate you the most. It keeps the show lively, you know? It keeps us going.
Yeah. Well, and I really do get frustrated. It's not like a fake frustration.
know.
You like hard games.
I know.
I actually don't like hard games. Yet here I am in love with the hard franchise, and you, nope, it just doesn't feel right.
I might get it. I'm a Nintendo bot all the way, so who knows? I might get it. Sushi Striker: The Way of the Sushido. Here's a day one.
Yeah.
June 8th. This looks like a mobile game. I don't know. You're throwing food at your opponent. I don't know. So if you're into that,
I don't care.
go get Sushi Striker on June 8th. Octopath Traveler now has a release date. It's no longer Project Octopath Traveler. It's just called Octopath Traveler.
Now, is this a full-fledged $60 game?
I'm not sure if it'll be $60, but boy, it's certainly a full-fledged game. It's a full-fledged
Let
Square
me
RPG.
see if it's on Best Buy.
Okay.
Because they were talking about like a special, like packaged one, like a collectible.
So while
edition
Derek
or
looks that
whatever.
up, this game is coming out on July 13th, and yes, they do have a special physical edition of this game where you can get like an art book, or it's actually like a flip book, because the art style of the game looks very much like 3D and 2D meshed together. So the idea of having this pop-up style book is pretty brilliant, assuming that's what it is. So yeah, the very, very cool looking game. They introduced 2 new classes that you can have. You can combine and switch between some classes, it sounds like. So some very cool stuff with Octopath Traveler. I can't wait for that one. That'll be great.
Yeah, it's the regular version is $60.
Okay.
The Wayfarer's edition is $100.
Oh, that's a little pricey.
Yeah, they're always ridiculous with their collector's editions.
That's a
in my
little
opinion.
pricey.
I don't buy anything that comes out exclusive to Nintendo that's a collector's edition because I always find them to be too high priced.
So quick side note,
for what you get.
Any RPG fans out there who are writing this off as another I Am Setsuna or Lost Sphere, which are, from what I've played of the demo of Lost Sphere, solid, and I finished I Am Setsuna, pretty solid. This is way different. The quality of this is way higher. This feels to me like Square's A-Team made this game. And again, I only played the demo, but I put a good number of hours into that demo, and I really enjoyed it. I think there's going to be a lot to like about Octopath Traveler. And to me, a perfect summer game. You and I talk all the time about developers, publishers, put your games out in the summertime. This is, to me, a home run release date.
Yeah, that might actually convince me to buy it more because it's coming out in July than if it was to come out in October or something like that.
Yeah. So good call by Square to release this game July 13th. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. They're not calling it No More Heroes 3, although it does kind of look pretty much like the third one in that series. kind of an interesting but weird game, of course. We expect that from Grasshopper Studios. The idea is that he is going into these different video games to destroy all the viruses. And so you jump into, I think it's 7 or 8 different video game types. Some of them are really old school, shoot 'em up looking things. Some of them, the graphics look a little sharper, like he's actually got a weak, strong combo type attacks. So it looks interesting, but boy, that's one I would recommend waiting for reviews on. I have no idea if that's going to be good. But that's still slated for sometime this year. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is coming out to the Switch on July 13th. That's going to be a big day. July 13th. They're also releasing a 3DS version. Why? And so that's coming to the Switch. I'm excited for that one. That's one Wii U game that I've always wanted to play with my kids, and I, of course, skipped it. So Captain Toad. And they are adding a few levels, some Mario Odyssey specific levels for this version.
Yeah, I saw that. It was pretty cool.
So there you go. Captain Toad is on its way. Hyrule Warriors, I should say, Definitive Edition, with all the DLC, all the characters, all kinds of stuff from that Hyrule Warriors game that was on the Wii U and the new 3DS, is coming on May 18th.
It's a pretty fun game. I know it's the mindless, Warriors franchise, but I thought it was fun. I didn't beat it, but I played probably 8 to 10 hours on the Wii U, and I enjoyed it.
So in May, we will have 2 pretty major Wii U releases coming to the Switch. You've got Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, and then, of course, don't forget, we do have Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze coming out, I believe, on May 5th as well, or May 4th, something like that. Mario Tennis Aces now has a release date, and that is June 22nd. They spent too much time, in my opinion, on the Direct, going through all the different types of shots. I get it. There's a lot of different tennis things you can do. I understand the last Mario Tennis game was a disappointment. Maybe they're trying to overcompensate. I don't know. But Mario Tennis looks like a fun game. It looks like they've got some deep actual tennis gameplay with
I think I'm gonna buy it because of the single player.
With some really fun story mode, right? And multiplayer stuff in there. So I was gonna ask you, are you gonna get this? And if you do, are you gonna stand up and swing the Switch remotes around like you're playing tennis for real?
Of course. Because I'm all about burning calories now. No, I'm not doing it.
How else will you catch up to Sasan in the looks category? All right.
I'm ahead of him.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, Crash Bandicoot. I have no idea. I don't know anything.
You know what? Don't leave it up to the listeners because they bash the trash out of me, and can somebody explain to me why everybody likes Hassan but everybody hates me? I'm a narcissist, but he's not. I don't agree. I don't agree. I'm angry about this.
Fair enough. Good. Get fired up, man. Go play some video games after this. All right, so Mario Tennis Aces, June 22nd. That'll be kind of fun to have something right after E3. That's cool. And the much-rumored Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is indeed coming to the Switch, also to the Xbox One and PC on July 10th. So this...
Still do not care.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't really care. But it's nice to see this. It's very interesting to see this former Sony exclusive hit every platform. To play this on an Xbox or on a Nintendo platform.
I think it did pretty good on the PlayStation 4 too. So,
and unless I'm forgetting some sort of random Game Boy Advance game or something, I don't think Crash has ever been on a Nintendo platform. It might have been on with some little spin-off, but these games definitely never were. And if you remember back in the day in the 90s, that Sony used to run these commercials where Crash would make fun of Nintendo and Mario and stuff. So it was interesting. Now it's on Nintendo. So there you go.
Yep. July 10th
for those. All right. You mentioned this one earlier. South Park, The Fractured But Whole comes out April 24th.
It's great to have Nintendo do a direct where they have to say that.
Oh, and he just said it too. He goes, The Fractured Butthole. He just said it. He just went for it. So that comes out April 24th. Pretty big, in my opinion. That's a pretty big port because it just came out this past fall. It's not a super old game. That's a pretty big deal, in my opinion, for a game.
I don't think it sold as well as they thought it would.
I don't think it did either, but I have a feeling it's about to get a big boost in sales. For some reason, I feel like this game's going to sell.
Is it something that you would buy?
Yeah.
Or do you still have no interest?
It's one that I never considered on a big screen because of not just the volume, but the visuals. There's no way I could play it around my family.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I don't want to just shield them from everything in life. They go to public school. They hear all kinds of stuff. But if I have the choice of what to put on my big TV screen, I'm not going to choose that kind of stuff. But I am interested in now finally playing it because it looks like it's fun and it's funny and I don't know. I'm interested.
The combat is fun.
That's what
Like,
I've heard.
I'm about an hour and a half in. Again, I play like 15 minutes and then I shut it off. But
That's what you
the
do now.
combat's, yeah, pretty much. But the combat's fun. Of course, it's funny. Anything with Eric Cartman in it is hilarious. So, yeah, I think it's worth it. I think this is a huge get, and I hope it does well.
Me too.
But I really do love the fact that Ubisoft, they really support Nintendo. I don't know what
Absolutely.
it is, but they have a good relationship with Nintendo.
Yep.
I think this will be great.
Yep. Next thing I want Ubisoft to put out some Splinter Cell collections on that Switch. That'd be amazing. All right, because I don't care about ports. Bring all the ports. Bring me all the ports.
I don't have an issue with it either.
There's a game that is highly touted as one of the most clever and funny games of recent years, and that's Undertale. And I have to give them credit. Their reveal was actually kind of funny. The writing was very clever, and the timing was good when they made a really silly dad joke about being on the Switch. I really don't know anything about this game. I know people who play it love it. This is one that I'm hoping they put out a demo for. I want to try it out a little bit. It looks like they might just be I can't tell if people are overselling it or not.
I think they are, but that's just me being me.
And I can't tell. You know, I've been burned on this kind of stuff before. Where I'm like, why did everyone love this? This wasn't that great. So, anyway, the reveal was pretty good though. Undertale is on its way. No release date. It just says coming out eventually. So,
I think I own it on PC, but I will never play it.
May 18th, I believe that. May 18th, Little Nightmares Complete Edition, which has apparently 2 different full stories in it and any other DLC, coming to the Switch on May 18th. That's Little Nightmares. So that's coming. Any thoughts on that one? I think it looks pretty good. I still haven't played it yet, even though I own it on PS4.
No, I have no interest in that game.
Because it was a PS Plus game, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was.
I think I downloaded it from you.
Oh, maybe I bought it on sale.
You did buy it, and then I downloaded it when you told me, "Hey, I bought it."
Yeah. So I've downloaded that.
played like
That's still sitting in
10
that
minutes, and I
backlog
was like, "This
list.
is
I
stupid."
haven't played it yet. But anyway, that's another decent one from last year in terms of like decently well known. That's interesting that they were coming over to the Switch. Splatoon 2 had a whole bunch of screen time. Not quite as much as Mario Tennis, but a lot. And they are updating to version 3.0 with a whole bunch of stages and whatever else. And then they announced their first paid expansion for the game called the Octo expansion. That'll launch. I think it's launching this summer, if I saw that correctly, for $20. And it has these new Octo kids or whatever they're called, where they look like a combination of some things. So anyway, that's coming out. If you're a Splatoon 2 fan, go for it. This game does have a ton of style. It's just not my style. So I've never gotten into it.
Emily likes Splatoon 2, but I think GameStop was giving me like $45 to trade it in, so I just stole it from her and traded it in, so she can't play it anymore.
That way you could buy some of those diet pills or whatever it is you're on. Cool. All right.
This is all natural. I'm not cheating on anything.
Okay.
Shut your mouth, girl. She's trying to get on the computer to play Sims 4. I'm gonna purposely play Dark Souls 3 so you can't play Sims 4. Okay, love you.
In the Japan version of this Nintendo Direct, they announced that Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming to the Switch, which is an old school game. It's been out for a while on PC and on other platforms, but it is coming to the Switch as well on April 4th. This would have been kind of a cool one for them to have in the States, but apparently that series was never really successful over here, so it makes sense that it's Japan only. So, of course, you could always create your Japanese account and go buy it. Here's the catch, though. You got to learn some Japanese because this is a pretty in-depth RPG type game. You need to learn some Japanese to play that one successfully. But there you go. Phantasy Star Online 2 coming April 4th.
I'm sure they have an app that interprets
Probably.
Japanese now.
Probably. And last but not least, they closed out after a whole bunch of Splatoon 2 stuff. They said, we have one more thing, and then it cut to the 2 main Splatoon characters that we've seen through both Splatoon games, shooting at each other in this giant white room with white backdrop, and they're shooting their orange and blue at each other, and it looked like, okay, great, more Splatoon stuff. What are they going to do, put Splatoon 1 on the Switch? I almost turned it off right then, assuming it was one more Splatoon news. And of course, the Splatoon girl, Squid Girl, turns, and in the reflection of her eyeball, you start to see the flaming logo from Smash Brothers. And then you see the silhouettes of a whole bunch of characters down below it. And then it zooms in real quick on the shadow of Mario and the shadow of Link, who very specifically was shown wearing his Breath of the Wild stuff. And then it said 2018 Super Smash Bros. So I'm assuming this is going to be a new entry for those of you who are big Smash Brothers fans. But that was
This is huge.
That was a major announcement.
I don't know how people could be like, it's just old games. I'm like, come on, guys.
So if I had to break this down, I'm looking at Octopath Traveler, Travis Strikes Again, Mario Tennis Aces, and Super Smash Brothers. That's 4 unique original games that are coming out to the Switch. And they either gave updated info on them or they announced them for the first time. Then they talked about some DLC stuff, and then they announced a whole bunch of ports that people have been asking for, just showing additional support for the system, and they're bringing over games from the Wii U that are their higher quality games that everyone wants on the Switch because they skipped the Wii U. So for anyone to walk around saying these are just dumb ports, I'm like, you're idiots. Okami and Dark Souls are getting remastered for other consoles. Are you just as mad at them for putting those new games out? Or is it okay that Switch joins the party there? So I get a little perturbed by that. Sometimes people are just trolling, and I ignore them. Other times it's people who legitimately spend their lives getting upset.
Guys, Tim is so angry that he used the foul language of idiots.
Yeah. I apologize, everybody. I'm going to have to bleep that out.
Idiots.
All right, let's close this out with the beginning of our countdown of our top 25 games of all time. This is not an easy list for me to make. There's some that did not make.
I have a feeling I'm leaving stuff off.
Yeah.
I tried really hard to remember everything, but I have no idea.
I had to leave some games off my top 25 that I'm like, wow, that's a really good game. I can't believe that's not my top 25. But I just tried to do what you and I did with Rudy and Kyle and Dan and others in the past, where you just try to compare them 1-to-1 and see which one should be ranked higher. And that's how it shook out for me. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. So for me, it's a combination of two things. It's overall game quality as it stands today in 2018, but I also had to factor in just some of it is nostalgia and me just saying this is a game that just means a lot to me. So I have a combination of those two things when I choose.
I did the same thing. I think almost every game on my list, most of the stuff's newer stuff anyways, but everything is still, you could pick it up and play it today and it would be pretty easy to play. But there are some archaic stuff, but a lot of it is newer games, and then it's mixed in with some games that I'm like, I get it, it's nostalgia, but it means too much to me to leave it off. In fact, some of them are pretty freaking high up on my list that are nostalgia.
Nope, I agree with that. And so a good example of this is if you would have asked me this in, let's say, 1999, then GoldenEye on the N64 would have been in my top 10 for sure, games of all time. Loved that game. Well, that game's been remade for modern consoles with updated controls, and you can go back and still play it. In neither case is that a good game. It just doesn't hold up. So to me, the experience is bad enough now that regardless of my nostalgia or how much fun I had with buddies back in the day, I can't put it in my top 25. It's pretty far down my overall list, actually. So there's an example of one where nostalgia got beat out by just, this isn't good. It's not good anymore.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take turns like we normally do. We'll start at 25, and we'll work our way up to 21 for this week, and then next week we'll revisit starting at number 20. So, Derek, why don't you go first? I've been talking a lot, so why don't you give us your number 25 and just give us a reasoning.
The listeners, they come here for you, Tim. They're not here for me. That's not true. All right, so 25 is, I'm going to give Death Row love. Obviously, I played it a couple weeks ago. It still plays fine. There are some archaic controls to it, but it's still a blast. It is more fun with friends, but it's still a game you can play on your own. It's just got a special place in my heart. It's stuck through for a long time, so I'm gonna go with Death Row.
Okay. I'm happy that made your top 25 because it has been a a regular in terms of games we've talked about on this show. So it's nice to hear that
Yeah.
make your list. Nice. All right, for me, number 25. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 of the games I'll talk about today. They're all part of a series, and these games represent that series to me, if that makes sense. Because there are some franchises that don't change enough. So in this one, I'm going to say Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 1 is my number 25 game. Does that mean that, start to finish, I think it's better than every other Telltale game after that? No, I think Wolf Among Us and Tales from the Borderlands were also very high quality. But this one just changed the way that I looked at adventure games. It was impactful. It was really good. It was surprising. I liked the episodic releases of stuff. I liked how big the choices were in it. The character of Lee and his relationship with, I'm blanking out on her name, the main girl. I'm going to forget her name. Anyway, the relationship between him and the little girl
I don't remember.
it's really well done. It's really well written and acted, and of course it has its technical hiccups like all Telltale games, but that was my favorite one. I think I've played that one through 3 times. It's the only Telltale game I've played through multiple times, and I really like it. I think it, as far as a Telltale game, it still holds up, and it's my 25. What do you got for What do you got for 24?
It's funny because I actually just deleted Killer Instinct, which was my 24, because I remembered another game that I think definitely deserves to be in the top 25. So Killer Instinct's gone. I'm going to put in Twisted Metal.
Nice. Okay.
So Twisted, and I'm talking about the original one. I know a lot of people love Twisted Metal 2 and Twisted Metal Black, and even Twisted Metal on the PS3 was a bit of a letdown. But the original Twisted Metal on the PlayStation 1 is a very special game to me, solo and with friends. I played that game so much. It just had the best levels. It had awesome cars. It had great combat. It was an amazing game, and I talked about this a few weeks ago, would love to see David Jaffe bring it back or just remaster the first couple. They would probably do Twisted Metal 2, but just do something, bring it back, make it a little bit more modern. You would have to tweak the controls a little bit and stuff like that, but I'd love to see it come back.
That's a good pick. I think I remember when I first saw my buddies playing Twisted Metal at their house, because I didn't have a PlayStation right out of the gate, and I was like, what is this? Of course, Nintendo would never make something like that. What is that thing? What's that creepy clown in the ice cream truck? What is this? So I like that pick. That's a good classic one. All right, number 24 for me is Advance Wars. And I'm going to pick the original one, for me at least, on the GBA, on the Game Boy Advance. It's a really fun turn-based strategy game in a grid-based system where you've got a couple different types of tanks. You've got some different ground troops. You start to introduce some naval and aerial combat. And it's really, really good. It still holds up as a great strategy game. And of course, you had Advance Wars 2, then you had Advance Wars Dual Strike, which many consider to be the best. And I don't disagree with that. It probably is the best. But the original Advance Wars I played so much of. It's my favorite of the series, and that series needs to be in my top 25. So that's number 24. I do think Tiny Metal, as fun as it was at first, wasn't quite what people like me want out of an Advance Wars game, so I'm still looking forward to that series coming back, hopefully to a Nintendo platform soon.
Okay.
23.
I never played those
Oh,
games, so,
by the way,
yeah.
if you've played Fire Emblem but haven't played Advance Wars, just think of it as it's a modern day Fire Emblem. There's a little bit less of the rock paper scissors style where that a Fire Emblem has. But it's similar to that in terms of you move your units one at a time on a grid-based system. It's just now you've got tanks and bazookas and artillery and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. My 23 is Borderlands 2. Big fan of the Borderlands franchise, and I don't know. I just had a lot of fun with 2. I beat it a couple times, played with friends a good amount. Not as much as I played with friends for the first Borderlands. But I did enjoy the game. I'm looking forward to Borderlands 3. I can't wait. I think it's a great franchise, so it's definitely worthy of my top 25.
Nice. Yeah, that one is one of those that just missed my top 25 cut. I love that game. All right, so number 23, I'm having a little trouble figuring out which game from this franchise to pick And if you would have asked me maybe last summer or the beginning of the fall, I would have picked something different. But now that I've played it and completed it, I'm going to put Assassin's Creed Origins at number 23.
okay.
It
Nice.
it had been a combination of Black Flag and Syndicate. I couldn't pick. I liked both those games so much. But I think Origins is the best of that franchise, and I'll have that one represent Assassin's Creed for me at the number 23 spot. Origins is a gorgeous game, and especially once you get used to the combat and all that you can do with the combat system and the different weapons, and the story's okay. The story is it's fine, but and there's some cool things for long-term fans of the franchise. But it's not really about the story. It's about exploring ancient Egypt, and they just put out this discovery mode where you can just explore. It's kind of like a interactive museum where you don't have to fight anybody. There's nothing violent going to happen. You can literally just explore in this discovery mode, and you can learn all about ancient Egypt. Very cool idea, by the way, from Ubisoft, I think. They've created quite an environment. You talked about the world that was lacking in the Division. Assassin's Creed Origins is one of the best video game worlds I've ever seen, just in terms of visuals and scope and detail. It's really, really great. So I'm going to put Origins right there in my number 23 spot.
Finally, a good pick from you. All right, so 22, don't really have to talk about it much because I already talked about its sequel in the previous one, and I'm going to go with Borderlands. Why would I put it ahead of Borderlands 2? I do think Borderlands 2 is the better game, but Borderlands, this is where the nostalgia kicks in. Borderlands is a very special game. I had actually just lost my job, and I had traded in games because I wanted this game so bad because my cousin and a couple of other friends had gotten it day one. So I went, traded in stuff, got it, and, being unemployed, we played a ton of Borderlands. I can still go back and play that game. I just love it. A lot of great memories. Again, I still think Borderlands 2 is the better game, but Borderlands has the most memories, and I still think it's a heck of a Kickstarter to a great franchise.
Yeah, Borderlands was I think a shot in the arm for a lot of people who weren't sure what to do with a lot of first-person shooters and how creative can they get, and Borderlands was fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
All right, so for me, number 22 is the representative from the Grand Theft Auto series, and I'm going to put Grand Theft Auto 5. I almost put Grand Theft Auto 3 here, just because that was the first one, and that blew my mind in terms of open world and the idea of taking missions. But not a game that I really want to revisit and play, because I tried to a few years back, and even then it didn't really hold up. Grand Theft Auto 5 takes all the great things about Grand Theft Auto and puts them in one giant experience. A huge world, multiple characters to use, so much to do. And that's even without doing the online stuff. I've never really got into GTA Online. But Grand Theft Auto 5 itself has a fun, entertaining story, in my opinion. Really entertaining characters, and it's just fun. Like, the game like Mafia 3 has a great story, but the world isn't that fun to explore. And then something like Grand Theft Auto 5, there's always something to do. And not many companies have nailed that magic that Rockstar hits of having a game where everywhere you go, everything you do is just fun. So I love the Grand Theft Auto series. Grand Theft Auto 5 is my favorite in that series. So that's at number 22.
Okay. All right, and then my last one for this week is number 21 is Mortal Kombat 9.
Nice.
I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan, and Mortal Kombat 9 was, I don't know, to me, it was the equivalent of what Mortal Kombat 2 was back when that game released. The original Mortal Kombat game was good, but Mortal Kombat 2 took it to the next level. Then you had a bunch of Mortal Kombat games that were either bad or good, but Mortal Kombat 2 kind of rebooted the franchise. I think it was the first one to really nail down a story mode, like an actual story mode. They had story modes in the previous ones, but the way they were done were really bad. This is one where it actually felt like you were playing a legit story mode that you care about, had cutscenes, had good characters that you could use multiple different characters to fight through, and it's kind of been, that's the starting point, and now NetherRealms has done it with Mortal Kombat 10, Injustice 2, and they keep doing it in all their games. So Mortal Kombat 9 is a phenomenal game. A lot of amazing fatalities as well. Just a great game. I love it.
Nice. I'll be interested to see, and don't give it away yet. I'm interested to see if there's a different entry, because I know how much you love Mortal Kombat. If there's a different one that's higher than that too, I'm curious. But don't tell me yet.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
My number 21 is going to be one that you love. I can already tell.
Sure it is.
My last two picks I know you approved of in general, because they were more modern.
Mm-hmm.
This one comes from the Super Nintendo days. It's a game called ActRaiser. And I couldn't put it any higher than this just because I did one-to-one comparisons. It just doesn't deserve to be.
I realize it's really trashy, but I like it. It's so good.
This game is not trashy. This game is great. I just know that you won't appreciate it. I don't know.
By the way, Tim, you sound like a nerd when I do your voice.
I
just want you to know that ActRaiser is really good.
Did you ever watch the old Ernest movies? Like Ernest Goes to Jail and stuff like that? Ernest Saves Christmas?
Yeah.
You know when he goes into those characters? That sounds like one of his voices, like when he's trying to he's the lawyer getting the girl out of prison in Ernest Saves Christmas. Listen here.
And I'm playing ActRaiser while I'm trying to rescue this girl.
I've talked about ActRaiser recently, but for those of you who aren't sure what it is a Super Nintendo game, and it combines some just kind of hack and slash side-scroll action stuff where you unlock a few magic moves throughout the game, and not a lot. That is the weakest part of the game. It mixes that together with kind of city building and an overhead combat style where you're this angel, essentially, that you're giving instructions to who can fight off the demons as well as guide the people on how to build their cities. And it's not nearly as in-depth as a Sim City type builder, but there are some really fun elements there where you can decide where you want things, how you want the roads, the layout, and all that kind of stuff. They did make a sequel to this. People asked for it, so they gave it to them, and they essentially just made a mediocre hack and slash side-scrolling game. They called it ActRaiser 2, and it's nothing special, nothing to get excited about. But ActRaiser 1, still one of my favorite games ever.
It's legit. It's definitely legit.
I did go back and play this one I have to confess, I did download one of those emulators or whatever on my PC back in the day.
Oh,
and
stealing.
And downloaded a whole bunch of old Super Nintendo games, and this is one of them. And I replayed it, and I still really like it. So I can confirm that this still plays well for people who like that kind of game. So there you go. There's our number 25 through 21. Kind of a mixed bag. Okay. It's interesting to see what each of us have as criteria for what makes our. And this, what I love about this too, is there's no debating it. This is our own personal list. We're just going through the games that are best in our minds.
No debating, only making fun of each other.
Only mocking, yeah.
Yeah.
So
ActRaiser is really good, guys. You guys should really try it. That Derek guy don't know what he's talking about.
So next week we'll talk more about how you just can't get back into games, and we'll talk more about the recent garbage game I've played, and then we'll go through picks 20 through.
Or we could just, we could do like a weekly, like, how much weight did Derek lose this week? We could just do a segment on that, because I know people are really, really interested in how much weight I'm losing.
Absolutely.
And then we can also, like, maybe start critiquing, as I keep losing weight, am I passing Sasan on the scale of hotness?
You know what we actually could do is we could bring up all of the tweets from our president, and then you and I could break it down tweet by tweet and just get an idea.
I gotta say, I know there's a ton of people, and I know the 3 listeners we have that hate Trump. I will forever love this guy just for the entertainment he brings me. The entertainment alone. And the funny part is, there's so many fake tweets that they use, like, they use his official account, and then they put fake tweets there that people fall for, because it's not out of the realm of possibility that guy said it.
Yeah.
And that's why I love him. I will always love Trump for that reason alone, is that he control the sensitive people that are like, oh my God, how could my POTUS say that? The POTUS is the man. That's why. He's alpha.
All right, well, that does it for episode 117. We'll see you guys next week.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
Great show, guys. Great show.